new technologies come out, or new, it doesn't even have to be related to technology, new methodology for new instructional methods. And most school districts are very slow to adapt, and that's where we were 7 years ago. What would happen was we had school-based decision making, which at the time we had a superintendent whose philosophy was that each school should be able to choose not only how they handle their instructional program, but also what technology they want, what brands of equipment, and then they'd come to us and say, this isn't working. And of course the expectation was that we would magically make that happen. And with the support of our superintendent, we completely turned that around, because that was a major issue for us. When you look at the inability to adapt to customers' needs, I mean, we're talking about our end product being education of our students. And you look at the way that a lot of districts used to handle it, you were throwing a lot of money into technology that either you couldn't use or it wasn't reliable. You bought it, but you couldn't rely upon it, so it never really became ingrained in the organization. And that's what happens when you put yourself in an entirely reactive position to deal with the new technology out there. And support is just a nightmare, because you never know what you're walking into. It could be an infrastructure issue, it could be hardware related. You have 25 brands of equipment out there. It honestly was a very, very difficult time in our district when we did that. So once we made the transition to standardizing district-wide, everything all of a sudden becomes more reliable, because now we have standardized training. We train our school technology people. All of our school technology people are required to have industry certifications. They're required to be trained not only in the equipment that they have, but also in instructional leadership, so that if you're a technology specialist in a school and you're a certified teacher, you need to be in the classroom modeling the use of the technology that you have. Before we standardized, and when we were in the scenario where people were coming to us and we weren't in a position to respond to it, technology simply wasn't a reliable, integrated part of instruction in the county.
So Dwayne, let me ask if I may, that you very casually said when the transition happened, and you use passive voice very carefully to say when something happened, who did it, and how did it happen? Because that's what a lot of school districts are struggling with, how to make that switch, and it obviously takes leadership.
Well, how it happened, we had a superintendent change. We had a superintendent, new superintendent, not new to the district, he was principal in the district for 30 years. And he's not a technology guy. He doesn't use technology in his personal life, but he's very supportive of technology. And when he walked in the door, he said, how do we get where we want to go? And at the time, we brought in our curriculum folks, we brought in some of our key principals, some of our more progressive principals, and basically I laid out the plan that we need to standardize the technology in the district, and we need to start now. We built it in phases, so we started from the ground up. By the ground up, I mean we started with the basic core infrastructure first. And then once we had gone beyond basic core infrastructure, we had to rebuild our lifecycle management plan, refreshing equipment on a reasonable lifecycle. We literally had, with the budget that we had when we started, if I were to spend 100% of my budget on replacing equipment, my replacement cycle would be 11 years. Okay, so the way it happened was that the superintendent is very receptive. He trusts his people. He will admit to you that he is not an expert or even a hobbyist when it comes to technology. And he came in and let me build the team I needed. He let me build the plan from the ground up. As you can imagine, he's an old-fashioned administrator, meaning he dictates memos. A little bit different than how a lot of us work. And I didn't understand his paradigm. He doesn't understand mine. So we had to agree that at some point he needs to give the directive to the district years ago,